When storing maize for 3 to 12 months, storage cribs, metal drums, silos, and village-level warehouses are recommended. Storage cribs. In humid areas where grain cannot be dried adequately prior to storage, grain needs to be kept well aerated during the drying process. An example of a storage crib is a traditional granary that is usually constructed out of plant materials including timber, reeds, and bamboo. Cribs are usually built on a platform which consists essentially of relatively straight poles laid horizontally on a series of upright posts. Platforms may also be conical in shape, with a point at the bottom up to 3 meters in diameter to make drying easier. Supporting poles must have vermin-proof fixtures to prevent rodents such as rats from climbing or jumping into the store. Metal drums. These are airtight and isolated from external moisture conditions. Insect-proof and airtight stores are very effective for grain quality but not cost-effective for shorter storage periods. Neither insects nor air can enter. When filled and closed, any insects present will be suffocated within about 6 weeks. It is best to use metal drums specifically intended as grain stores. If using old drums, special attention to cleaning is required using a mixture of water, detergent, and sand until there is no smell of oil. Do not use drums used to store any other chemicals. Silos. Silos are insect-proof but not airtight. Isolated from external moisture conditions, they come in a range of sizes. Silos may be made airtight by sealing inlet and outlet ports. When sealed, pest control can be achieved quickly by fumigation with phosphine or depletion of oxygen. This can be achieved by placing a burning candle on the grain surface, and when most of the oxygen is burnt, the candle is extinguished. Village-level warehouses. These communal stores can be operated at village level to serve farmers and operators who have created cooperatives or formal groups to provide a larger stock to market. This is a good arrangement for smallholder farmers who do not have enough resources to build their own store. Large traders also prefer these types of bulking centers to make it easier to pick up loads of commodity at one time. It reduces costs for buyers but still maintains prices for the farmers since handling costs are minimized. Remember, select the most appropriate storage facility. Ensure storage facility is clean and sprayed before storage of grain. Arrange bags appropriately to facilitate aeration. What are the losses we incur due to poor handling of our grain? Most people lose the quality and quantity of their grain, which in turn affects the price they get for their maize. Contaminated grain can also cause disease to those who consume it.
That mold is what causes poisoning. It causes aflatoxin, and the condition that human beings can suffer and which can cause death, aflatoxosis. That is very dangerous. We have heard of many places where people have eaten maize which is rotten, and at the end of the day, they die. Another thing is, I hear farmers and I see farmers use that maize to feed their livestock, especially when you feed that kind of maize on dairy cows. The toxin, the poison goes into the milk, and it will cause liver cancer. That's very dangerous.
Aflatoxin contamination is encouraged by the following: inadequate drying of grain, physical damage due to poor shelling or threshing methods, poor storage methods exposing maize to moist conditions, and insect infestations. Aflatoxins cannot be seen with the naked eye. However, suspect materials tend to be rotten, moldy, discolored, having unpleasant smells, bitter taste, poor milling quality, and warmer than room temperature. Losses due to mold lead to loss of weight, loss of quality, that is the smell, taste, color, nutritional value, and germination of grains, further increase in temperature and moisture, causing more grain deterioration. Spillage. Careless handling of either maize cobs or grains can lead to spillage. This leads to loss in terms of quantity. Spillage can also lead to loss in quality in case contaminated grains or the cobs are again mixed with the clean ones. Losses due to spillage are common during shelling and transportation and need to be avoided. Pest control and safe use of chemicals. Chemical insect pest control on farm is needed when maize is intended to be stored for more than 3 months and when the grain is not stored in airtight structures. There are several types of ideal pest control methods at farm level, and they include mixing of insecticide dust with loose grain and cobs, and solarization or heat treatment of a thin layer of grain. Fumigation of sealed stores can also be done, but requires supervision by a certified fumigator. Insecticide dusts are recommended for use by smallholder farmers because they contain a low concentration of insecticide, making them safer to handle than more concentrated formulations. They are ready to use and are supplied in small packets, making dosage calculations easier, and they do not need elaborate safety precautions. Farmers must observe the following when using any chemical. Avoid breathing in the dust by tying a cloth or putting on a mask over the mouth. Wash hands after completing the job. Do not reuse any pesticide containers. When selecting an insecticidal dust for food grain, take the following precautions. Identify the pest correctly so that you use the right chemical for the right pest. Only use approved dusts that are labeled for use in mixing with food grains. Never use dusts labeled for use in mixing with only seed grain. Always check the insecticide package to ensure it has not passed its expiry date. Always follow the manufacturer's recommendations. Mixing an insecticidal dust with grain is very simple. Remove the grain from 1 or 2 sacks and place it in a heap on a clean surface. Open the packet of insecticide and sprinkle the correct amount of powder all over the heap of grain, making sure the wind does not blow it away. Using a clean shovel, gently mix the powder into the heap as well as you can. Shovel the heap to another part of the clean tarpaulin or concrete floor. Then shovel it back again. Shovel it back a third time. When finished, There should be no visible patches of insecticidal powder. Remember to dust early in the morning or late in the evening when grain is cooler. Adhere to the instructions in order to protect yourself and safeguard the environment while using chemicals. Many farmers fall into the trap of selling their produce at throwaway prices because they lack market information outside their village market. So, what kind of information do we need to equip ourselves with? Know the prevailing market prices of grain. Locate the best market at the time you are marketing your grain. Understand the quality specifications of your target market. How do we get market information? These can be through existing platforms, for example, millers, National Cereals and Produce Board, Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, the Internet, among other sources. What do we do as small-scale farmers to ensure we get the best market for our maize? Let us form farmer marketing groups where we can freely share market information and increase our bargaining power. Let us jointly sell our produce so that we enjoy economies of scale. Let us plan properly to ensure that selling time coincides with high market prices. In the end, maize farming is big business, and the buyers will only give the best prices for the best quality maize.
We look for about 13 parameters. We have moisture, we do aflatoxin for every sample that we take. We also do rotten and diseased. We have discolored, the red tips and other colors. Because you'll find maize that has purple and all that. It's also looked at. We look at the broken grain, the shriveled grain, all that. If there's field, if the grain is moldy, we look at all those parameters. And then we do have, we use the Kenya standard for the grains, for the maize grains. So we have to make sure the quality that we get is good quality and is within our parameters so that when we do the milling, the flour we get is good flour. It is palatable and it is attractive to the eye, and it also has a good shelf life.
AIC